Thank you for watching She Said That Out Loud. If you enjoy our content, please like, share, and subscribe. Welcome to She Said That Out Loud. Today I have a special guest. Her name is Shamika Webb. She is an entrepreneur. She manifested her dreams and created this beautiful place called African Traditions. She's retired from the United States Air Force. She has a bachelor's degree in psychology and an associate's degree in business management as well as transportation.
Correct.
She strives to build a bridge in the African American community with its roots and teachings from Africa, allowing them to be better informed and educated and aware about the truth of where we all came from.
Yes.
So today I wanted to talk about sacred spaces and how important it is to have a sacred space and practice caring for yourself, mind, body, and spirit.
This is true. Thank you once again for having me on today. I take this as an honor to be able to speak to the community and share this exchange with you right now. Again, greetings family. This is Shamika. I have been established here in Las Vegas as far as my geographical location for nearly all my life, with my opportunities of traveling the world with the military and now flowingly by myself when I want to, where I want to, and how I want to. We started the establishment here nearly 3 years ago, and it's given me an opportunity to create a sacred space, as we're discussing today, for our community. So it wasn't just about me. We all have our home, our palaces, excuse me, if you will, and we have places where we reside, and we consider it our place where we're safe, we're at peace, that we rest. In that, it's important that we also create spaces intentionally so that certain things are transpiring. A sacred space is a place where you can heal, where you can grow, where you can expand and ascend. So it's important that we all intentionally create that for ourselves.
So when we create sacred spaces, does that mean that we have to create some type of altar at home, or is it just finding a place where we can kind of wind down mentally?
Good question. So that would be totally up to you. One, we like to address the word, do we have to? No, we do things because we desirably want to, or we're aspired to. So you don't have to do one given thing. This is not a religion. It's not a ritual where you perform something at any given time or in a particular way, if you will. It'll be simply because that's what you're compelled to do. You're so in tune with yourself and allowing yourself to trust that intuition, or we'd say that gut feeling, or that something said, that inner voice, where you're going to be led by what you feel to do. So if that leads you to have an altar, sure, you can have a sacred space that gives honor to your ancestors. You have an ancestors altar, and that may show up in different forms. But then there may be that rug or that mat where you have your meditation or you perform your yoga. That's your sacred space. It may be in your dining room where you read a book, or in your bedroom where you seem to wind down at night and listen to music. Whatever that may be for you, it's not wrong, right, or indifferent. What compels your spirit, what wakes you up, what ignites you, is you using that space during that time for you nourishing your soul.
Okay, and let's talk about the inner voice, because a lot of times we hear that inner voice and we go a different direction.
Okay.
Because I think maybe some people probably don't know what it is. They probably think it's themselves talking to themselves, or they think that they're crazy. So speak to the inner voice and how important it is for us to listen and be guided by it.
Sure. So you said it best. That is your voice. That is you. We are the ancestors. We're all one and the same. And after we realize and really understand and overstand that time is infinite, it's nearly an illusion. So we are in the past, the present, and the moment. It's all happening right now simultaneously. So that inner voice that I speak about, it would be you. It would be that already knowing, the omnipotent that we all are familiar with to a certain degree. The omnipotent means you're everywhere at all times, doing it all. So we already know it's a matter of trusting, and that becomes the concern or the challenge. That's the blockage for most people, is trusting that that voice is not going to lead you astray. It's safe. So we have that experience, but it's often ignored because it may not sound like everybody else. It may not look or show up like everybody else. And so we're afraid of being ostracized or alienated. So you want to sound like the masses. You go along to get along. That inner voice is your own self-navigation for you to go through this journey and navigate without bumping into tables and chairs. And so the moment you become more comfortable with you can listen to that voice.
That's deep. I mean, it seems so simple, but I don't know why we tend to go the other direction.
Oh, there's
it's scary.
Layers.
Sometimes it's scary because you don't want to do what it is that you need to do. And you talked about blockages.
And that's what makes it scary, is the blockages. And most often it's the blockage of fear. It's very common. It's in the human psyche where most people feel like if they're not a part of something, that them acting solo as an individual is not enough. It doesn't give them value, when it's just the opposite. Actually, you're more important, you're more valued, you're more admired, and you have more power because you are an individual. Where we're stuck in our culturation of wanting to blend and harmonize and be a part of everything, when oftentimes you're not. You're to be alone. You're to do it as an individual, because we all have a component to the puzzle. We all have a piece that's going to be central, and we need it. But we need you to be your authentic, true self in order for you to have value to bring to the table. You can't look like me and talk like me and think that I'm going to admire you or give you strength or respect or power. So we're chasing something that's not even real. You want to fit in. And so you're uncomfortable with that voice because of the blockage of fear of not fitting in.
Whew. So talking about authentic self, people can see through that.
Absolutely.
When you're not being yourself and you're up there shucking and jiving,
we call it your energy field. It tells the truth.
It tells the truth no matter what.
It tells the truth.
So you can't even fake it.
No. And don't let spirit start telling on you. Because you may think you're doing a good deal and you're putting on a show and you got everybody fooled, and spirit will pull the covers off on that. And although we often don't talk about it because it's not to shame anybody, because we're all growing, we're all healing, we're all collectively as a masses coming into this. And everybody's at a different pace. Everybody's doing their own thing, and it's no wrong, right, or good or bad way to do any of it. We have several modalities. Our ancestors left us a plethora of things to use. And we're now just tapping in and acceptance of that. But what it looks like when you tap in, it's going to be one where you're not going to look like anybody else. That smoke screen that you put up like you're fitting in, it's only keeping you from your divine self. And it's holding the people back from getting what they need from you.
So you have to show up.
Show up for you.
Show up for you. Show up for your family.
Yes.
Show up and do what it is that you've been called to
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Are there any, is there anything, what else do we need to talk about as it relates to sacred spaces? Does it involve incense and setting the mood?
Oh, it sounds like you're talking about conjuring energy. So two different things, and we don't want to get the two mixed up because this is new for quite a few people.
Yes.
And then for those of us that's seasonal and we're accustomed to doing it a certain way. So as I've stated before, and that's my disclosure, there's no wrong, right way to do anything, right? You do it the way you're compelled to. So for me, giving you an example of sacred space, it looks like literally sometimes it's just my bedroom, me being in a quiet place where the lights are off, where I'm not using the light bulb. I am literally in a space of me being at rest in my bedroom, and that's sacred. So that's sacred space. Then there's other times where I have in my closet my ancestors' altar. That's sacred space where I don't wear shoes, where certain things don't enter into that space. Nobody else in my home is welcome in my closet. So that's sacred space. There are incense, there are candles, there are resins, there are sages, there are tarot cards, there are crystals, there's pendulums, there's herbs, there's oils. I have a gamut of things in my sacred space because I conjure energy. So we all have what we do. Some people, their sacred space may be their kitchen. That's your laboratory. So you may conjure your energy by preparing wholesome, healthy meals for your family, for yourself, nourishing your soul. We're healing from the inside out. So what better else to do it in your kitchen? That's a sacred space. Your bathroom where you cleanse, you shower, you bathe. That's your sacred space. So again, this is just a few examples that it could be whatever you define it to be and what you use it for, but be intentional, and it's your sacred space.
Okay. Now, would our bodies be considered a sacred space?
Absolutely. That's a really good one. Yes. And thanks for bringing that up, because all too often we ignore our health. We think because you are eating well, or that you're sleeping and you're drinking water and you're going to the gym, or you go to church as often as you do, or you say a few affirmations, or you do yoga every now and again, that you've arrived, that you're taking care of your sacred space. It's so much more than that. It's about going in and making it sacred, maintaining the sacredcy. It's a constant maintenance. This is our meat suit. This is our avatar, but we're divine spirits having a supernatural human experience.
Now, you mentioned affirmations, because I know affirmations are deep too. It's more than just, I am strong, I am powerful. Sometimes when you're saying those words, it's not enough.
I'm going to take it back to church. If you don't remember nothing else, they told you the I am is the I am. We are the I am, all in one and the same. Omnipotent means everywhere at once, doing all things. So when your affirmations are spoken, it was created by the words he called into existence, and the gender was he at the time. Whatever it takes for your mind to conceptualize what that really meant, we want you to peel back the layers to the book that you're familiar with, for those of you that want to take some past history that you've learned. You are the I am. So when you speak I am, you become that thing. So the power in affirmations is because you're speaking and bringing it to existence. Your world looks different than mine. Even how you're perceiving me, is different than how I perceive myself. You take a carpenter, electrician, and a plumber, walk into the same room. All three are going to see things differently, because their expertise is going to allow them to see in that world, in that space, at that time, according to their experiences. They all see something different. The I am, I become is what I say my world is. I manifest and create that. Now, how powerful that looks is if I'm able to convince you that that's what it is. Speaking things into existence. I call it a turtle, I call it a dog, it's whatever I call it, whatever I name it, that's what it is. And what I say it's not, it's not. Tap into your power.
Wow, that's almost like you said in the Bible. There was a scripture that came to me. Now it left me, I'm not too good with this. I mean, I can pull it out my back pocket.
I hold on to them.
But one or two of them I'll pull out. But it came to me and then it left. But it goes back to the I am. I am. Whatever you say you are,
you become that. Yes, it starts in your thought process. That's why you govern your thoughts. And the sacred spaces where you can train yourself to do that. It becomes a challenge because we're all too often wanting to be the body. We want this human experience to be so real, we think that this is it. When we know we're spirit, we're traveling in different dimensions. You give yourself permission to have dreams at night, don't you? So you're spirit having another experience during those hours.
So when you're dreaming, you're saying that your spirit leaves your body and is having an encounter on a different dimension.
It's actually the real world. This awakening time is an illusionary. We call it the matrix. Most often we're governed by the energy. Everything around us has an influence on our energy field. So you're more in your real life sense while you're asleep than when you're awake.
So that's why it's important that we're around the right people.
Absolutely.
And they're not allowing anybody and anything
in
to
your
get
sacred
into
space.
Sacred space.
Yeah.
Sacred space.
Yes.
Wow. This is a lot. I hope you guys are getting everything she's saying. She's making it very plain. She's making it very plain, and she's deciphering between the two so that you won't get confused.
Yes. So as we stated, you conjuring energy is one thing. and your sacred space being another. So you may have various things in your sacred space. You may do certain things in your sacred space as far as the body that may come across with you being mindful of what you consume. I consider myself a light body, so I don't eat meat. There is moments where I'm cautious about my weight, and for various reasons. So I'll take in seafood, particularly the salmon. In that, I'm still governing how long that goes on and what is my real reason behind it. So when you're doing whatever you do for your sacred space, rather it's the body and the food you consume, how much water you're drinking, which the body is 80% water. So you want to certainly make certain you're staying, if nothing else, definitely get your water, because it's a cleansing process. It's a renewal. It's a life source. But then there's also you savoring your sacred space with how much sleep you get or don't get. What are you doing with your time? Do you use escapism more often than you should? Some people watch a lot of television. They're literally OD'd on television and don't realize, even with music, you're allowing other things to be an influence or a channel for you of the messages. So guard your sacred space. You want to monitor that. Everything with balance.
So it sounds like everything you do is intentional.
It has to be. That's the only way you can create. Otherwise, you don't have any power.
Yeah.
You can't convince me if you don't have any power. Your objective is to convince me and not to manipulate me. Let's not get that wrong, because there's negative connotations with certain vocabulary words. The English vocabulary and the dichotomy of the words can really confuse you because they're spells. We're very intentional with how we say things and the words we use.
Well, and I had a conversation with my sister about that, because I have started to become very aware of the words that I use. So even when I'm telling the story, I don't want to say you.
Yes.
I want to say, well, they said.
Yes.
Because now that becomes my word, and I don't want to put that on you.
Right. And that's where you guys, some people to tell you they're going to pray for you.
Well,
don't pray for me. That's spiritual trespassing. I don't need you to pray for me, because we may be praying for two different things for me, and I don't want that.
Yeah, I was told, I was like, huh? What are you talking about? Oh, no, that's weird. What you're saying sounds weird. That's what I was told.
They weren't there yet. They know it, but they're not there to receive it or accept it, give themselves permission to be there yet, because we all have it. So they knew exactly what you were talking about, and it wasn't weird. It was just awkward to be visiting that at that time that you were bringing it to them.
That's the right time.
Correct. And not that it was wrong time. It's no right and wrong, remember? So don't beat yourself up about that. Don't get hung up in that. You did what you were supposed to do at the divine time. They just weren't ready to receive it. But you planted the seed. You did your assignment, and they'll get it later. They'll process it later. But you had to plant the seed.
Okay. I got it. Whew. And so sacred spaces is so important.
Yes.
We have to have boundaries. That's what it sounds like. Yes. We're creating boundaries in our lives.
Exactly.
And to focus on what's most important for us, because we have to take care of ourselves. Absolutely. We can't pour from an empty cup, and we need to make sure that we got it together.
And I don't know which female, divine, feminine that just heard that message, but receive that. You can't pour from an empty cup. And all too often as women, we nurture ourselves very little, but nurture everyone a lot. Guilty as charged. I'm preaching to the choir right now. But somebody had to hear that, so it just wasn't for me. You can't pour from an empty cup. Creating that sacred space allows you to intentionally manifest and do what's necessary, not just for you, for the greater good of the masses, but collectively, your growing in the spirit is allowing everyone else to feel free and cultivate and come together with you in spirit, because we're one, all in the same, as we just mentioned. I am the I am. We're all one and the same. So we need you to be healed. We need to be healed. If there's a need that you have and it's fear that's holding you back, you certainly want to address that. Create your sacred space in whichever way that looks like, whether it's your body and the self-care that you, and the self-love that you give to yourself, or if it's just having that ancestors altar to convene with those that is transition. These are people who you walk, talk with. You don't know of anybody else in what's in the sky, but you can certainly remember grandmother and granddaddy and uncle that were good to you, that nurtured you, protected you, and they're still wanting to be in your life in that sense. Having an ancestors altar in that sacred space will allow that. There's modalities of you eating well in that sacred space that's going to cultivate. So as the sister mentioned in the summary of this is so that you don't pour from an empty cup, you create a sacred space so that you show up at your very optimal best as a piece to the puzzle that we all need.
And how can we work on getting rid of fear? Is there such thing as getting rid of fear, or accepting that feeling and then moving forward?
If I could put a pin in that and make that a segue to another interview, if it's okay with you,
yes,
but that's another conversation. Spirit is telling me we have shared with the community what they needed to hear regarding sacred space. I am honored again to be on the platform with the sister. And so we hope to connect with you all again soon, family. She'll provide our contact information. Follow us on.
You can give them your contact information. Let them know how to get
African Traditions. So for those of you that's on the West Coast, we're located in Las Vegas, Nevada. Our physical location is 900 South Valley View, Suite 110. And that is Las Vegas, Nevada, 89107. Again, that is Las Vegas, Nevada. And we're actually near the downtown area, not far from the Strip. So if you're just visiting and hanging out, come and peep your head in. We're a cultural space, a sacred space is what I call it. And you'll get more than a shopping experience. Everything's authentically hand-selected by myself. It's handcrafted from Ghana, Nigeria, Senegal. We got some things here from the Congos. Quite a few different places along the Ivory Coast, and a few pieces from Egypt. I've been to Kemet. And so we brought back some art from there as well. We're on Instagram and Facebook, so you can check us out. It's African Traditions, African spelt with a K, and that's AfrikanTraditions, African Traditions on Facebook and Instagram. Check us out.
Well, we are so happy to have Shamika here with us, and we will be back. We will have a part 2.
Yes.
We definitely need a part 2.
Breaking down fear.
We have to break it down because this can get deep. So thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.